Jets Ward.
ETS Jets. What is going on, Jet fans? And welcome back to another episode of the Jets Ward. I am your host, Ryan Ward, and I'm so excited to be back with you guys. I got a fun one for you, but first, if you have been here before, welcome back. You know I love having you guys here. It is a great place to be because you guys keep coming back for more. And if you are new here, welcome. Whether you're a Jets fan of another NFL team, or just a casual NFL fan, you are always welcome here. It is a safe space for you. Now, guys, it is draft season. We are less than a month away from the 2026 NFL draft. On this channel and other content creators' channels, we've been talking about possibilities of what the Jets can do in this draft at pick 2, pick 16, talking about all the picks we do have. Could there be trades? Anything going on? But I want to take away from the draft a little bit because as of now, we're still not there yet. The Jets are still in need of a wide receiver 2 and honestly a wide receiver 4 as well. So insider beat reporter Rich Cimini came out and was talking about how the Jets could be interested in trading for a wide receiver and brought up 4 different names that I think could really fit this offense in different ways. Some as a number 2 receiver, some maybe as that number 4 type of receiver that you could put in the slot, something like that. But the first name he brought up is obviously somebody who we've talked about on this channel going in depth. And basically, since rumors have started about his name being swirled around, Brian Thomas Jr. This is a guy who's been linked with the Jets. The Jets have been interested in him since the trading deadline last year. Could they be still interested in him? Rumors are that they are. Maybe a deal is being done behind the works, or trying to be done behind the works. But Brian Thomas Jr.'s name keeps coming up in trade possibilities with the New York Jets. Again, 23 years old. He's 6'2", 209 pounds. Last year, he had a little bit of a down year. Just didn't seem to get it going in the new offensive system that he had and was dinged up every now and again. Played in only 14 games last year, had 48 catches for 707 yards, 2 touchdowns. After coming off a season where he, in his rookie year, went over 1,000 yards, was a touchdown monster. You don't just forget how to play football. It's all about scheme fits and things like that. They drafted Travis Hunter. They traded for Jacoby Myers. So Brian Thomas Jr. was going, it just didn't look like he was working in Cohen's offensive system. So could he be on the move? Well, at this point, it doesn't seem like the Jaguars want to trade him, but there are still rumors something could change as we get closer to the draft or even on draft night as well. Could the Jets float a second-round pick 33 or 44, over to the Jaguars for him? If that's the case and that's what it's going to take, I'd be all for it. The guy has not forgotten to play football. He's still young. There are questions and concerns about if he really wants it. Maybe a new place, a team could be beneficial for him and the Jaguars too for getting more draft capital. Brian Thomas Jr. is still young. He's only going into his 3rd season. Still had a decent year last year. If he can stay healthy, he can be one of the better younger receivers in the league. And pairing him up with Garrett Wilson, A.D. Mitchell, Mason Taylor, and even Breece Hall in the backfield with a quarterback and Geno Smith who can get him the ball and is not afraid to throw the deep ball, something Brian Thomas strives in, I think could be beneficial for him. Now, there's other names that Rich Cimini brought up. And the next one was somebody who, honestly, trade rumors have been swirling about this kid for years lately. And that's Rashad Bateman. He was highly touted coming out of college. Ravens took him. He was supposed to be this next electrifying wide receiver for them. But injuries and just very inconsistent with Rashad Bateman. I don't know if the system was really great for him. He doesn't have the most explosive speed, but he is a deep ball threat. And he's a very crisp route runner. Route technician, knows a lot of different routes that you can put him in. You can put him on the outside. You can put him in the slot. Only 26 years old. He's 6'1", 193 pounds. Played in 13 games last year. ended up getting a concussion, and then, or not a concussion, he ended up getting injured with a hamstring, I believe, last year. And then when he came back, he was sat out because he was sick. So illnesses and injuries have really, really hurt this kid's career. I think there's still a lot of upside with him. Um, focus is something that's a concern. The focus drops are something that's been tagging along with him in his NFL career so far. But runs great routes, not afraid to block. He's not the best blocker, but he's not afraid to get his head down and block. And then just he can get open. Getting open is not an issue for Rashad Bateman. It's just that he wasn't utilized a lot in the Ravens system. Lamar Jackson, they have Zay Flowers, loves throwing to Zay Flowers. The two tight ends they had, Isaiah Likely and, oh God, why can't I remember his name? It'll come to me later. But two solid tight ends there that were always open as well. Mark Andrews, that's who it was. Thank you. Mark Andrews, the other tight end who's still there. Isaiah Likely now gone. But Mark Andrews always getting targets as well, pulling away from Rashad Bateman. They had D-Hop there as well. There was a lot of just him not being healthy enough to play and then just getting overshadowed on the depth chart, especially with the running game and Derrick Henry being there. Rashad Bateman, still only 26, has a ton of upside. I could see him coming in as that number 2 receiver, the slot type of receiver, because of the upside. Would not deter me from taking a wide receiver as well, like a Jordan Tyson or an Omar Cooper Jr., somebody like that. I could definitely see him slotting into the wide receiver 3 and AD Mitchell bumping down a little bit, or those two competing for the wide receiver 3 spot, and whoever loses gets wide receiver 4. Bateman's a very interesting one, and I'd be interested to see what you guys would have to say about him if the Jets were to trade for him. I honestly don't think it would cost too much, maybe a 5th-round pick to get him because of the injuries and illnesses and the games that he's missed, and just because of the numbers. Like I said, he played in 13 games last year, had 19 catches, 224 yards, and 2 touchdowns. There's a lot of talent there. I just don't know why it just hasn't worked for him at this point yet. But maybe it can change in a different offensive system. The next guy that I'm going to bring up that's been brought up, Quentin Johnston. Here's a guy who's got tons and tons of upside. He is somebody who's very, very good, bigger bodied receiver. Not the best blocker, though, for his size. He's a physical, imposing guy, but not the best blocker. That's been one of the criticisms with him. And not the greatest at high pointing the ball. Jump balls hasn't really come down with those contested ones, but he's got decent speed, who can get open and be a deep threat, and as a bigger receiver. Very crisp in his route running as well. For bigger receivers, they tend to be a little clunky and make their cuts not as well. Quentin Johnston's a great route runner and can do a lot of different routes as well. You can play him in the slot as a bigger slot. You can play him on the outside where I think he's better. And it gives you an ability to move Garrett Wilson around the offense as well, especially in the slot where I think he can thrive, like that Amon-Ra St. Brown type of receiver that the Lions were so successful with. Quentin Johnston would give the Jets the ability to do that, especially with AD Mitchell, who's still young and has a lot of upside on the other outside as another outside receiver. Quentin Johnston, only 24. He's 6'2", 208 pounds, had played in 14 games last year. Health has been a concern for him. And just to tell you guys, with all of these guys, injuries have been a concern with each and every one of these guys that Rich Cimini brought up. So that's something that's a concern there. But last year, he did very well. He had 51 catches, 735 yards, 8 touchdowns, red zone threat, red zone monster, something the Jets struggled with last year. So another guy who can beat you deep. And like I said, Geno loves throwing the ball deep, can open up the offense a lot more. He would come in and be your number 2 wide receiver behind Garrett Wilson. And I think he would complement Wilson the best. Now, going into our 4th one, this is a name that's been brought up before, but not to the extent of these other 3 guys. And that guy is from the Green Bay Packers, and it's Dontayvion Wicks, number 13 from there. He is 24 years old. He's 6'1", 206 pounds. Had 14 games last year, had 30 catches, 332 yards, 2 touchdowns. This is just the case of being bogged down on the depth chart. The Packers had Christian Watson. They had Romeo Doubs last year as well. He ended up going to the Patriots. They had They had they drafted two wide receivers as well. Drafted 2 wide receivers, and they had another guy as well, and they were using the tight end as well too. But Dontavian Wicks, it's very similar story to A.D. Mitchell, where it's just such a talented room that he gets bumped down. That's what happened with A.D. Mitchell in Indianapolis. They had a great wide receiver core, and that's why A.D. Mitchell wasn't getting as many looks. Dontavian Wicks is the same thing. He's 6'1", 206 pounds, so he's a bigger receiver, doesn't have the exploding speed, but he can get open. He is great at creating separation. But again, injuries. Last year, he was knocked out and concussed and ended up missing some games and missed the first round of the playoffs as well. So there are a lot of things and concerns. Can he upgrade his game, getting more looks? I think he comes in as wide receiver 4, competing with wide receiver 3. But he could be an interesting option for the New York Jets. Issues with drops, that's a concern for him as well. But he gets open. He seems to be able to create separation, even though he lacks that burst down the field. When it comes into the intermediate and short range, he's got that quick burst. He just can't sustain it on deep runs. So he's somebody that I think could be an interesting option. I don't think he would be your number 2 option, but as a number 4 option, I think that would be very good. And then draft an Omar Cooper Jr. or Jordan Tyson. Or if you want to go crazy and draft Carnell Tate at number 2, you could do that as well and then make your wide receiving core elite. Because Garrett Wilson's pushing for Carnell Tate in an interview that he had. So Dontavian Wicks is the last guy Rich Cimini brought up. There's other receivers you could talk about. Maybe Jordan Addison could be traded from the Vikings. I'm not sure if that would work now that they lost Jalen Nailor to the Raiders. But these were the receivers that Rich Cimini brought up and talked about that the Jets could possibly trade for before the draft, during the draft, or even after the draft to see what goes on. Again, the Jets need a wide receiver 2. They need a wide receiver 4. They have a lot of things that they need to fix, but the wide receiver room is one of the biggest ones at this point. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about these options. Is there any other options that I did not mention today that you'd be interested in as well? Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. And make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. And hit that bell for any notifications of when I post videos, just so you stay updated on what's going on in the Jets ward. Also, follow me on X, Instagram, and on TikTok. I try to post all my videos and shorts there as well, just so you see me on other platforms. But other than that, guys, I love you. I appreciate you guys, and I thank you so much for joining me in the JETS Jets Ward. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
The Jets Ward.